How much did Muhammad Ali mold your personality, or is it a reach for me to connect the two? I did think of you when we looked at all of those old clips with Ali. Not that you were that kind of showman when you were playing, like you weren't guaranteeing wins and calling out Jordan and those kind of things. But I think now as an analyst, I see a little bit more of Muhammad Ali's frankness.
Well, Dan, I think people close to me, I got a real nice text from Kenny. I think Muhammad Ali is the most important person in my life as far as trying to, when you get to be who I am, I want to always stand up for poor people. And that's my number one objective, to speak out on social issues. And he's always been the most important, significant person in my life. And every time I got a chance to see him, I told him that, I never want to just be rich and famous. I got lucky to be able to play basketball. And I do, man. It hurt me. It hurt me a lot. I always tell people my role models are Muhammad Ali, Dr. Martin Luther King, and Bill Russell. And all of them, I'll never talk about black and white because there are just as many white people out there struggling like black people. There's always been white people in the civil rights struggle. But man, it hurt me probably since my grandmother, who's probably the most important person in my life. It just hurt me. And I was fortunate enough that I got a chance to tell Muhammad several times how much he meant to me. And it was just hard. It was hard. Even though I knew the end was coming, it still hurt. And anytime, like I've been trying to get the NBA to move the All-Star game out of Charlotte because of the transgender thing. And, it's up to me. All these guys talk about money and championships and things. I said, man, it'd be great to win a championship. It'd be great to have money. But when you're rich and famous, especially if you're black, I feel like I have an obligation to talk about the state of education in this country with sending all these black kids, these poor high schools, and not making them successful and things like that. I'm going to use my puppet to try to help poor people. But just to close, man, Ali meant the world to me, and I can never thank him and Bill Russell and Dr. King and, Jim Brown. Even though Jim Brown has been hard on some of us, we're trying. And there's no way I can ever compare myself to Ali because I've never been through anything like a struggle like that. I've never been through anything hard in my life. And I do know racism exists, and I do know economic situation, the rich and the poor. It's a tough situation, but it was just a hard weekend for me, Dan. I appreciate you asking me that question.
Will you consider boycotting the All-Star game?
Yes. But I have said, and I've told my boss, I don't want to act like I'm jumping on a sword, but I've talked to Adam Silver. We need to move the All-Star game. And I'm definitely, but like I say, I don't want to act like, I don't want to go out there crying wolf. I hope they don't put me in a situation where I have to boycott the All-Star game. We need to move the All-Star game. And I've said that. But yeah, I will consider that.
The Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings on Audience.